Why do all the best shows like this get cancelled? And also, why do shows like Spider-Man the Animated Series get cancelled? It was fun to watch on Saturday mornings, especially this, Spider-Man the New Animated Series. Why? Why was it cancelled? As a comic book fan of the as a comic book fan of Spider-Man in general, and as a fan of any other characters, I've seen many reincarnations of Spider-Man in television, with some good, some bad, somewhat average, and basically, yeah. And some of those shows even did very good, but then again, not as good as Spectacular Spider-Man, of course. And Spectacular Spider-Man, I remember when I used to watch this show as a kid, and when I got older, it was still very fun to watch. Spectacular Spider-Man was a show that got everything right. The characters, the relationships, the storytelling, the villains, and of course the high school setting, which was very important to the show. And plus, Peter Parker is now finally a teenager, something that TV and film always get wrong with Spider-Man, because Spider-Man is a teenager and he's at the age of 15 or 16. But then again, some of it got away with it and some have not. But anyways, Spectacular Spider-Man was a really amazing show that even got the high school social life right, of course, because with the show that was focusing on high school social life, like for example with the relationship between Peter and Gwen Stacy, and of course Harry's drug addiction. Sure, it's more likely like the Norman Osborn. It's like the Oscorp chemical from Oscorp, but you know, it still counts as the same. And plus the reason why they put that there was because they wanted to make the show relatable, and of course something that hasn't been experienced in a Spider-Man TV show before. And of course, we got Mary Jane. Finally, Mary Jane is Mary Jane. Where the hell has she been all this time? Like, seriously, where? It was kind of taking it a little bit long to get the character of Mary Jane right, where she's not a damsel in distress like in Spider-Man the New Animated Series or in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, where she's a confident girl who flirts with the guys and makes them go happy on their day. It's a shame that the show that got her right was sadly cancelled. And plus, with her flirting with people, and of course with making people going smiling around their day, this was just like, you know, hiding behind her abusive life with her father. And I cannot even remember if that was even referenced in the show, but fortunately I couldn't say. But maybe it would have gone later on the show if the show would have been renewed for a third season, but no, it didn't. Yeah. And I like where Mary Jane would later never get. I would like that Mary Jane and Peter never get along, you know, in a relationship like in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. But of course, later in the comics they do, and I think maybe later on the third season they might get a love relationship, of course, because in the comics Gwen Stacy dies. For villains of the show, of the series, we got, of course, Venom. Now, this version of Venom is much better than he was in Spider-Man 3 and even in the Venom solo movie. But anyways, this version of Venom overall is really good, and when Eddie Brock loses his trust for Peter and gets really mad and really hates Peter Parker now, and finds out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man when the symbiote has told him that, he later grows stronger and stronger and becoming more of a character than a minor character, and later he becomes Venom in the series, in which in which he also becomes more of Venom in his story arc in season 2. And of course we have some awesome villains, like we have Tombstone, for example. He was pretty badass in the show. And of course we got Dr. Octopus, and was written very well in the show. And of course Mysterio, as he was written very well in the show as well. And even Green Goblin, in which Green Goblin was menacing and he was really cool. And it was really fun to see him in action fighting Spider-Man, with Green Goblin being more like Spectacular Spider-Man's the Joker from Batman the Animated Series and others. And of course we even get to see Spider-Man and Black Cat having a relationship. But although I like the one in Spider-Man the Animated Series, although with this one it was really good. Although I like the one in Spider-Man the Animated Series better. Some villains who even make cameos in the show, like for example Hydro Man, who made a cameo in the show, and even Carnage, who even made a cameo in the show. But it was too bad that we didn't get the show for a 3rd season, because of course sadly the show was cancelled in the wrong time, and it was due to Disney buying Marvel, and that Disney already bought the TV show rights to Spider-Man, and Sony was allowed to keep the film rights to Spider-Man, and so they replaced it with. And so Disney couldn't continue Spectacular Spider-Man because they thought that the show was too edgy for kids, and so they replaced it with a kid-friendly show known as Ultimate Spider-Man. And then that show ended, and they replaced it with the 2017 Spider-Man show, in which it was falling in line with the MCU Spider-Man. Sadly, with the show being cancelled, we could have gotten villains like Kingpin, Tarantula, Scorpion, Carnage, and Hydro Man, and others. But anyways, in the show for minor characters, we got Liz Allen, where she's a popular girl in school and she hated Peter Parker, but when she's with Peter Parker, she begins to be herself, and they both started dating later on in the series. And then we got Liz's brother, Mark Allen, who has a gambling addiction, and later he becomes Molten Man in the series by the Green Goblin, in which later on the Green Goblin would tell him to defeat Spider-Man, but he refuses, saying that he saved his sister's life. But unfortunately, he just decided to take the bet and to kill Spider-Man. But unfortunately, well, he was defeated by Spider-Man, and later he was sent to prison again. And that was very sad to see. And of course, that makes Mark Allen even more relatable, much more like Harry's drug addiction in the series. Although, like I said, it is like a formula from Oscorp, but you know, it's still the same. But anyways, this show was overall so cool, and it was too bad that it was cancelled and Disney decided not to continue the show and replaced it with Ultimate Spider-Man. So sad. But, you know, with this show overall, that was still really good. It was still really fun to watch. If you're a comic book fan, if you have not seen the show yet, or if you want to see a really great Spider-Man show, then this is a must-watch. Because this show overall, it is a masterpiece, and it is overall a really great show to watch and really fun. With the animation that was really nice, and the drawing style that was very creative, and with the swing animations that I could have used in my animation project, and you know, the swing animations that were very inspirational in others. And overall, the show was really amazing, and I give this show 5 stars. Yep, and a thumbs up. So that's basically Spectacular Spider-Man. What do you guys think about it? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. And I'm Nicolas Pajuelo. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, and peace out.